lot of people don't realise, but you use your legs for balance, and when you don't have your legs to balance, it's a different feeling. 2009, it was on the way to work, and I was 21, 22 at the time, which is pretty young to have a significant accident. My partner at the time, who's now my wife, she was a good support. My family, my dad, my mum, all those, even friends. And because they had such a good attitude, it sort of kept me going. Even when I was doing my rehab, I had to learn how to balance on the side of a bed again. And the way I would do it was I'd try and touch my girlfriend's boobs to figure out how I could balance again. So it was all those sorts of things that I could try, and I had to sort of, you can either laugh or cry about it, and I chose to laugh about it. What's the hardest thing about cooking a vegetable? And it's getting the wheelchair in the oven. So that was one of my best mates. He'd come in and sort of said that to me as we were going through it. So humour was a huge part. It was massive. Basically, the only way to get back on the bike was generally a quad bike. I think it was about probably about 18 months to 2 years after my accident. I sort of went and bought a Can-Am Renegade 1000cc quad bike, and it was loose. It was a mean machine, that thing. This was about 4 or 5 years after my accident, and researching motorcycles, and my wife wasn't too keen about me getting back on the motorcycle, so I was stuck with the quad for a little bit longer, and it all got to a point where I was like, no, it's not working, and that's when I looked at other options. I went, how can I modify a motorbike? I was in my dad's office one day, and he turned around and he said, did you realise they've got an automatic dirt bike now, adventure bike, that new Africa Twin? And I went, rightio, let's do it, let's look into it. It was quite awkward when I rocked up at the dealership and I said, I want to buy your Africa Twin, the DCT. But I mean, and I rolled in a wheelchair. He sort of looked at me like I was crazy. There was nothing out there for a dirt bike. They were all road bikes, and anyone that was on a dirt bike sort of put a frame around their legs and used people. And I said to myself, I want to be mobile, I want to be independent. I was an aviation engineer by trade, and I had my accident partway through my apprenticeship. And I know that a lot of linkages and movements on the aircraft were very similar to what I was actually looking at originally when designing, when I was seeing designs over the internet for bikes. So I started prototyping, and the first prototypes were just, they were just crap. So the first time I tried it, basically I built an L-shaped style stand that held the back wheel in place, and I had 2 catches, and off I went. I rode and saw what I could or couldn't do, even just to see if my balance is okay. So I sort of rode around and realised I could do that, and then what I would do was pull up beside the side of my ute or something, because it has a cage on the back, or even the side of the shed, and just pull up beside it and just basically hit the brakes, stop, and just lean into it. And that was the only way I could really do it in the early days. So the actuator extends out, and with the press of a button, which then turns like a torque tube, which lifts my gear up and down wherever I want it. And then I've got 2 control rods that basically angle the wheels out to when I'm coming down, to give me that stability out wide. Once I found out where the actuator was going to sit and how I was going to link both the arms, it was basically, that was the easy bit then. It was onwards and upwards. During the prototyping, there was a couple of fails. You know, as soon as the bike heats up, the resistance changes, and then the regulator failed. So I was going along, I was riding around the backyard, testing it out, and my regulator failed, so I couldn't put my gear up or down, so I was sort of like riding around in circles going, help me, help me. The other thing too was learning how to use it and how it reacts. I was at a set of traffic lights, bringing it down, and I thought, oh, they'll turn green soon. And so I hit the wrong button. I hit the up button instead of the down button, and I did nothing but fall on my side. I sort of just went, uh-oh, here we go. I enjoy riding. I've met new people. Go out riding with my dad most of the time, which is, I think, is fantastic. So even riding with a bunch of people that, you know, they come out specifically because they think you're an inspiration. I don't see myself as that. I just see myself as the average Joe Blow going for a ride. But yeah, it's opened up what I would have been able to do. So really, I don't have to worry anymore. I can do everything that I want. It's always good to have support around you. So if you've got someone that's negative, then cut them out. Don't let that negativity be in there, because it will bring you down. And I find that if you've got people like that in your life, then they're going to rub off. So I find that moving forward, one, there's always a way around it. It's just a matter of trying to find out about it. Use a bit of humour. Humour's always good. And the third thing is put people around you that care about you and that don't see the disability. I built it because I want to ride, and simply built it purely because it's a good headspace and it provides that. So if I can give that to someone else, then I'm more than willing to help out in any way.